I don't think anyone was really asking for these lenses, but I do think you're gonna see a lot of people want them, and I think you're gonna start to see them on a ton of shoots. And that's mostly because the price point of these new DZO Arcana 1.5 times anamorphic lenses is so impressive. It's just over $1,000, which may sound like a lot to you, but when you look at the price range for PL mount anamorphic lenses, they ain't cheap. Now, full disclosure, DZO did send me 2 sets of these, and that's because we're gonna be giving away the set of these lenses. More information on that in just a bit, but I'm getting to keep this set. DZO does not get to watch this video or have any input on this before I put it out, but I am enjoying them so far. I'm actually glad they're giving these to me, not just as a loaner, because so far they have been really fun to shoot with. When it comes to focal lengths in the Arcana set, you have a 32, a 45, and 75. And what's fun about all these lenses is we're actually giving them away, including this ZR and this amazing Kondor Blue cage setup. That's because Art of Documentary's doors are opening, and every year we give away a camera kit, and this has to be our best one yet. It's insane. All these lenses, the camera and the cage, in this case, from Art of Documentary. We'll be talking more about that later. Doors are opening, but don't miss the chance to win this. You can go to our Instagram. I got details below. Like I mentioned, that weight is very impressive. I actually took these lenses and suction cupped them with a really light gecko rig you can get on Amazon for like 50 bucks and put that on the window of the interior of my car. Normally, when you're shooting on PL mounted cinema lenses, it weighs so much you need extra rigging, but these are so light, less than 2 pounds. And one of my favorite features of these lenses is the fact they have a 77mm front thread. If you've been shooting on a lot of stills lenses over the years like me, you have a ton of ND filters. And when you get up to that cinema lens range, you start having to get different setups or using a matte box. It's really nice just to be able to throw this on there for that weight category, which I think you're gonna start to see a lot of people shooting their documentaries in anamorphic for this reason. One of the things I was most impressed with these lenses, which is the 32mm, is the near focus. You can see these tests here. I'm just around a foot from the tip of the lens. And we are tack sharp, very sharp. It makes my nose look nice and large, even bigger. The course to the actual sensor, it's a bit further. It says 1 foot 7 inches, but man, you can get close with these anamorphics, which if you've shot on a set of true anamorphics, like a set of Cooks or Hawks, you'll know that sometimes you can only get within 2.5 feet of the lens. You have to get diopters on. So again, for that documentary or quick shooting world, or just anyone looking to use the anamorphic lens on a tight budget, it's so nice to have that near focus. Now, you can probably see I'm here on the 32mm. There is some barrel distortion. And I don't know where it's come into filmmaking that people on YouTube hate barrel distortion so much. I mean, you see films like No Sudden Move that have crazy barrel distortion, or I think of The Favorite. There's some crazy lenses also used in that film. I tend to like my images a little more screwed up. It's why I love lenses like the Helios. It's why I love the Hawks. And it's also why I don't mind a little barrel distortion. And you can also just quickly, with the slider in post-production, get rid of it just with a click of a mouse. And to me, it's nice to have a little character in your lens. You can see the comparison here between the Arcana and the Arliss Prime. Both of these are made by DZO. Interesting zooming in and looking at the bokeh in the edges here. Also too, interesting to see what happens on the AOD sign there, that fluorescent between the two lenses. Feels like there's a little more of a mist on the Arliss compared to the Arcana. These are 1.5 times anamorphics, which is an important thing to note because 1.5 times on a 16:9 sensor essentially gives you the same aspect ratio after you de-squeeze as you would be getting from a 4:3 sensor when shooting on 2 times anamorphics. It gives you that kind of 2.66 to 1 range. But if you were to throw a 2 times anamorphic lens on a 16:9 sensor, you get this wild, wide image. It's like 3.6 to 1 or something. It's almost unusable in my opinion. So ideally, 1.5 times anamorphics work best on 16:9 sensors. DZO has chosen to call this a hybrid anamorphic, essentially claiming that it has the characteristics of a 2 times anamorphic, because traditionally 2 times has a lot more character in the corners and more distortion, which we tend to all love as cinematographers, or at least I do. But I think it might be a little bit of a stretch and a little bit of marketing on DZO's part. I wouldn't say that these 1.5 times anamorphics are as far in their character as something you would typically see on a 2 times anamorphic, but it's still very usable, and I really do love the 1.5 times squeeze on a 16:9 sensor. You can see a bit of the swirl in the lens. It's actually, as the flare here gets into the edges, it changes shape, which does happen on a lot of lenses, but I kind of like that there's some unpredictability. For an anamorphic 2, the flares aren't crazy, they're very manageable, and that might be nice for people who are getting the first introduction to an anamorphic lens. That's why I love shooting on old lenses like the Helios that just have crazy flares. And if you've seen a lot of anamorphic work, like on the Panavision C series lenses, there is crazy flares that you can get out of anamorphics. But sometimes you don't want this, and so that's where this falls into that medium range. So if you're looking for a little character and maybe the client doesn't freak out, the Arcanas can be really great for that. Now the lenses had a little bit of light leak on the top, and I love that. I actually kind of wish they would have some more. It really felt like I had to push the lens to look directly at the sunlight in order to get it to flare extensively. I'm probably a bit more used to the Helios 44-2, where just like any light flares out the full lens. Again, this gave me a little more control, but I felt like sometimes I was really having to force it in order to get it to do the big light leak. Not the end of the world. So again, I give it that kind of medium range distortion. So far, with all the tests I've run, except when I'm missing my focus, like on this 32mm shot inside my car, the focus has been very impressive. There's other lenses, kind of like the C-Ray lenses, that are more softer, and you may like that look, but with this and adding just a little bit of sharpening in post, they look tack sharp, which is really fun to have a lens that can be that sharp, but then having all of that distortion around the edges. And speaking of that distortion, I think it's actually a really powerful tool for you as a filmmaker. You can see here in the office, Kim and Landon have been working really hard with our Art of Documentary next launch coming up, so their desk is a mess. But I just dropped the camera down here, and because of the swirl and the distortion of the bokeh, you can see that just turned into this beautiful dappling back here. Can't actually tell that this is a hot mess on the desk. And so for you shooting an interview, you can quickly get rid of that background using these lenses. And it looks great. You can't actually tell what you're looking at back there, and it really does draw me into this shot of Kim. Amazing. I'm excited to see DZO pushing the craft of anamorphics, kind of inventing this new hybrid category where this falls in between a stills lens and a cinema lens, especially at that weight. We're giving these away. About that giveaway, that's over on Art of Documentary. Twice a year, we open the doors for people to join Art of Documentary, which is our film academy. We have 7 courses, thousands of filmmakers from across the world. You can go look at any of our testimonies, any of the comments of what people say about Art of Documentary. People are emphatic about how much it's had an impact on the career. It's one of my favorite things I get to do, is be a part of AOD. We started it 6 years ago, and we love to give back. And so whenever we open the doors, we do an incredible camera kit. This is probably our most impressive one yet, coming in. It's a set of these Arcana lenses, Nikon ZR, Kondor Blue rig setup, all coming in a Nanuk case. It's a fantastic setup that I look forward to giving to some amazing filmmaker. That'll be given away on April 17th because the doors open for Art of Documentary on the 14th. If you want more information for that, I'll put a link to the AOD website, or you can run over to our Instagram and find out more about AOD. But thank you, DZO, for providing these lenses. Excited to see more people shooting anamorphic, trying it out on their projects. Awesome. Thank you for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one.